Hey there. Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Ever wish you could just crack open the universe's secrets?
Oh, yeah.
Well, today we're diving into a book that claims to do just that. The Kybalion. We know you're all about max knowledge, minimum time,
For sure.
so we've distilled a video summary of this ancient wisdom just for you.
Nice.
Think of it like a crash course in Hermetic philosophy. Your shortcut to ancient secrets.
I like it. So the Kybalion, what makes it so interesting is that it's not just some dusty old book,
Right.
It's more like a greatest hits of ideas, all attributed to this, well, almost mythical figure, Hermes Trismegistus.
Okay, so trying to pin down the real Hermes Trismegistus is kind of like trying to pin down the real Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Like, did he actually write all those plays, or was there a ghostwriter, or a really really smart monkey with a quill?
Right, haha. But just like with Shakespeare, it's the ideas that have really stuck around, the ones that have really stood the test of time. That's what we're after.
Exactly. And in the Kybalion, those ideas, they're crystallized into seven, well, key principles.
7 principles, that's right.
Seven principles that book claims govern, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So to make this all digestible, we're going to break down each principle one by one, starting with the very foundation, mentalism.
A foundation.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful one. The video summary puts it simply. Everything is mind.
Okay, so does that mean we can all just manifest, sports cars with the power of thought? Asking for a friend.
Well, maybe not that directly, haha. But mentalism in this context, it's less about literal manifestation and more about how deeply, how profoundly our thoughts actually end up shaping our experiences, our actions.
Okay, so instead of willing things into being out of thin air, it's more about how our mindset, our beliefs,
Yeah.
they shape our reality.
Exactly. And it's something that, even modern psychology kind of echoes the power of mindset. If we're constantly, just focused on our limitations, we're going to see obstacles everywhere. But if we can cultivate a more, open, a mindset of possibility, then we open ourselves up to new opportunities. And it's not magic. It's really just about aligning your perception with your goals.
That actually makes a lot of sense. So principle number one, our minds are calling the shots, even if we don't always realize it. Now, things get a little more, shall we say, mystical with principle number two, the principle of correspondence. The video sums it up with a very simple phrase: as above, so below.
As above, so below. Yeah, it's all about interconnection. Think of it like this. The veins of a leaf,
Okay.
they mirror the branches of a tree, right? And then the branches of the tree, they mirror the branching rivers across the land.
Wow, yeah.
It's this idea of mirroring, and it extends to our inner and outer worlds, too. What we see around us in the world, it might just be a reflection of what's going on within us.
So if our thoughts are shaping our reality, and there's this, cosmic mirror reflecting everything back and forth, what happens when we bring in principle number three? Vibration. The video is very concise with this one. Nothing rests, everything vibrates.
I actually love that one. It makes me think of one of the fundamental discoveries of modern physics, which is that at its core, everything is energy. It's all energy in a constant state of motion.
Right.
Even something that seems perfectly still, like this table right here, or like a rock, it's actually buzzing with activity at the atomic level. It's incredible.
So everything's vibrating even if we can't see it? Wild.
Exactly. And it's not just some cool science fact. The Kybalion actually suggests that our thoughts, even our emotions, they vibrate too.
Okay.
I mean, we've all heard those phrases, right? Like good vibes, bad vibes.
Oh, for sure.
There's a reason for that. Our energy, our mood, it doesn't just impact us. It impacts the people around us too.
Yeah, that I get. You walk into a room after an argument, you can just, you can feel the tension.
Exactly. It's like those ripples in the pond we talked about, but with an energetic component. Interesting stuff, right?
Super interesting. Okay, so we've got all these vibrating thoughts and feelings bouncing around. Where does that energy go? Maybe principle number four, polarity, can shed some light. The video sums it up as everything is dual.
Everything is dual. I like that. It's this idea that opposites, they aren't really opposites. It's more like they're two sides of the same coin.
Okay.
Like light and dark or hot and cold, up and down. They're not totally separate things. They're just extremes on a spectrum.
So less about things being completely opposite, more about them being interconnected, part of a greater whole.
Exactly. Think about success and failure, right? Those seem like total opposites.
For sure.
But what if, instead of seeing them as two separate destinations, we viewed them as points on the same journey?
Oh, interesting.
Every experience, whether we call it success or failure, offers valuable lessons, and those lessons contribute to our growth.
That's actually a really helpful way to, like, reframe things.
Right.
No more beating myself up over every little setback.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective, that's the power of understanding polarity.
Love it. All right, ready to get this energy moving with principle number 5. The video summary for this one. Everything flows, everything has its tides. Sounds a lot like that go with the flow advice.
It's similar, yeah, but it's got like a deeper significance. The principle of rhythm, it reminds us that everything moves in cycles.
Okay.
We see it in nature all the time, right?
Okay.
The changing seasons, the ebb and flow of the tides, day and night.
Yeah.
These rhythms, these natural rhythms, they impact our personal lives too. Our energy levels, our creativity, our relationships, they all ebb and flow.
So instead of fighting those ups and downs, the key is to, like, learn how to ride the waves.
You got it.
Yeah.
When we recognize those cycles and maybe even start to anticipate them, we can learn to work with them instead of against them. You wouldn't plant seeds in the winter and expect them to flourish, would you?
Definitely not. I am a spring planting kind of person.
Exactly. And the same goes for our own lives. When we recognize and honor those rhythms, our own and those of the natural world, it can make a huge difference.
That makes a lot of sense. So we're tuned to our own rhythms. What about understanding the consequences of our actions? That's where principle number 6 comes in. Cause and effect. The video is pretty straightforward with this one. Nothing happens by chance.
Yeah.
So no more blaming Mercury retrograde when things go wrong.
Haha. Well, external factors definitely play a role sometimes, but this principle is less about fate and more about understanding that every action we take, it creates a ripple effect. It encourages us to, be more conscious about our choices and take responsibility for those choices, whether they're big or small.
So owning our choices, basically. Got it. Which brings us to the final principle, and this one's a bit of a head-scratcher. The principle of gender. The video sums it up like this. Everything has its masculine and feminine sides. Now, I have a feeling we're not talking about, like, literal genders here, right?
You're right. In this context, gender, it refers to those fundamental energetic forces at play in the universe.
Okay.
It's not about your physical sex. It's about recognizing these energies within ourselves and in the world around us.
So less about being a gender and more about, like, embodying both of these energies within us.
Exactly. Think about like the yin and yang symbol. Those two like seemingly opposite forces, but they're intertwined, right? Always interacting, always in balance.
Yeah.
That's what the Kybalion is getting at. This principle, it's at work in all of creation. The masculine, it's that, driving, active force. And the feminine, that's the receptive, nurturing energy. It's about finding that balance within ourselves and in our interactions, I think, with the world around us.
So much to think about. We've really only just, like, scratched the surface of these 7 principles.
It's true.
And even from a summarized video, it's clear. The Kybalion offers a lot to unpack.
Oh, it really does. And you know what? Whether you see these principles as, like literal truths or even as metaphors for living, they encourage us to approach things differently, to be more mindful, to see things holistically.
Which, let's be honest, is something we could all use a little more of these days. So where do we go from here?
Well, I think that's the beauty of a deep dive like this. It's just a starting point. We've given you the quick tour. Now it's up to you to explore.
Right?
What resonates with you? What are you curious about? And maybe, just maybe, some of these ancient principles, they can offer a little guidance, a little wisdom as we navigate, this very modern world.
I love that. It's like, we've given you the keys to the car. Now you get to choose where to drive.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Kybalion. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deeper.